Hey girls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today is the start of a very fun weekly reading vlog. I say fun, probably not any more fun than my other weekly reading vlogs, but definitely a change because I am now in a new career. I am working from home, so just some very exciting life changes. I re-dyed my hair. I recently just got back, actually last night, from St. Louis. I went to go see the Paramore concert with one of my best friends, so that was incredible. So I'm still very sleepy and tired and like on a high from being able to see them and just go and explore St. Louis for a weekend. And it's also a new month, August, 1 month closer to spooky season. It's always spooky season. It's spooky season year round here, but you know, officially fall time. It's closer to that. So yeah, very interesting reading vlog. I'm very excited. My day-to-day is going to look so much different because no more commute. I work from home, I make my own hours, and also I just get to be with my dogs all day. So that's, you know, a lot of good, a lot of exciting things happening, and I'm very curious to see kind of how the rest of my life, at least the rest of my day-to-day life, kind of changes as a result, because I'm very excited. Definitely looking forward to one of the reasons why, you know, I made the switch, just for mental health reasons primarily, but also because in addition to mental health reasons of just changing to a less stressful career, just taking out things like a commute that's like 2 extra hours of my day that I get for my hobbies, that I get to spend with my partner and my dogs. So I'm very, very excited for that. So let's talk about reading. That was like my big life updates. I am currently, I say currently, I'm gonna have to restart this one because I'm only like a chapter in. I started it before I was getting ready and like while I was getting ready for my trip. So I am gonna have to restart this one, but I am about 40% of the way through Graveyard of Lost Children by Katrina, Monroe. This is my first book by this author, but I have heard great things, and this is kind of like a generational family saga almost. So our main character, Olivia, has just given birth to a daughter. This is a very exciting time in her life, but also kind of stressful and kind of brings up some unpleasant memories because her biological mother had her when she was a teenager, and she had delusions, or so her family tells her. She doesn't know a lot about the story, that Olivia was a changeling and tried to drown her in a well when Olivia was just a couple of months old. So she's been in the care of her grandparents, and her mother was institutionalized, and that's her family history with mental health. So, and it's primarily about, like, you know, childbirth and pregnancy. All of that started when her mother gave birth. So she's a little nervous about that. She starts seeing things, feeling things, hearing things, and is worrying that, you know, maybe it's generational mental health. Maybe it's actually like a generational curse. So subjects like that can be done poorly and can be done very well, because, you know, mental health, mental illness is a very delicate subject, but this one seems to be doing it very, very well so far. And we do get to go back in time and read from Olivia's mother's perspective as well as Olivia herself, so flipping back and forth in time between two mothers giving birth to daughters and just their experiences with postpartum, and then also potentially something a little more supernatural. The trigger warnings in the front of this book, which I thought were very nice. There's an author's note at the beginning, which is so important. So this book contains themes of mental illness and postpartum depression, including thoughts of harm and suicide, as well as semi-graphic depictions of childbirth. Please exercise self-care during and after reading. So all of those, very important, and also like pretty big triggers, I'm sure, for a lot of people, because childbirth is a beautiful, wonderful, but also like can be very life-threatening, scary, emotional. Like, it is an experience. So trigger warnings are good in there, definitely keep those in mind, but I am enjoying this one so far. I'm watching my dog, Obi. Hey pup, please do not eat those. We're in the, I feel like, equivalent of terrible twos for a dog right now. So excuse me if I have to break away during filming to kind of reprimand him. But the second one that I'm going to start is Burn the Negative by Josh Winning, and this is about a woman who used to be a child star. She was a child star on this horror movie that mysteriously had a lot of deaths, a lot of incidents, was reported to be cursed, haunted, bad things happened. OB. So much so that this woman changed her name, her family changed this child's name, and they moved overseas to get away from this haunted horror film. Polly, who is now a reporter named Laura, she renamed herself to get away from the infamy of her child's dark days and the incidents on set, goes to report on a TV show that she doesn't realize is a remake of this movie until she gets there. And obviously I think bad things are gonna start happening. So I feel like there are a lot of books coming out, either recently have come out or are coming out, that have to deal with like found footage, haunted film, like movie sets, which I'm very excited about because I love a found footage movie. I love a found footage horror movie. I love books about horror movies. I just think that's really cool. So these are the two books that I'm going to be reading this week. And I'm very excited for the week ahead, definitely. It is Wednesday right now, so a little bit of a shorter weekly reading vlog, but it actually might be longer in length because I have more free time. Not a lot of free time. I'm obviously still working like a full-time job, but definitely on my schedule and with more time for my hobbies, which is just so exciting. So we'll have to see how this week pans out, but I'm looking forward to like this fresh new start with me, just in terms of my career. It's August, it's a good time right now. So I'm gonna go take care of my pups, get to work, and get to reading, and I will check back with y'all later. Okay, even though I feel I am like literally dripping with sweat because it is so hot outside, I am doing a middle of the day update. Middle of the day is generous. It's about 4:30. But I got something very exciting in the mail. This is Evernight. This is the new book-only subscription box, the horror-only subscription box from Illumicrate. So this is a quarterly horror subscription. They'll send you a fancy schmancy horror book every quarter. I think I know what this book is. I'm going to be very surprised if I don't, but the way that I am very excited to see what book it is. And I should say before I get into it, when I put this box down, I'm gonna open up the book. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the Evernight box, then you know, don't go any further, skip forward like a couple of minutes. Okay, we've got the, yeah, the featured book. I knew it. Wow, am I excited. Okay, hello. This is so cool. I've wanted to do a book subscription box for a while, but it's a little pricey. It's a little on the pricey end, and just sometimes I'm hit or miss with a lot of book subscription boxes, but horror is right up my alley. Oh my gosh. Okay, wow. This is my first Evernight book, and it is Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I am so excited to read this. I think I might, oh wow, sorry. There are illustrated end pages as well, so I'm very excited about this one. This has been on my anticipated releases of 2023 list for quite some time. I love Silvia Moreno-Garcia. My favorite two works of hers are definitely Mexican Gothic and Certain Dark Things. So I'm very, very excited to read this one. So this is about a cursed film, and the curse still keeps going on. A cult horror director, a charming but faded soap opera star, and a talented sound editor all come together to try and shoot the missing scenes and lift the curse of this movie. Look at the end pages, guys. Those are so cool. Look at the end pages there. They're so cool. Yeah, and this feels like very readable, so it's definitely like a book, a special edition where I feel comfy actually cracking it open and reading it, and not feel like I'm going to destroy precious art. It's also got a signed page, which is super cool. Yeah, okay. What does the original look like? I bet red. I think it's red. Okay, yeah, cool. So the original is red and it has silver lettering where it says silver nitrate. I'm gonna guess that probably the silver nitrate, like the title, is kind of holographic. I could be wrong, but honestly, I kind of love this. I kind of love the silver. First of all, horror books, they're like all red. They're either red or they're black. This one does have quite a bit of black, but honestly, I think it really works for this book and this title in specific. When I'm thinking about, I'm not sure what time era this takes place in, thinking of like lost films and lost film footage. You kind of think of the early days of movies, which I'm not sure if this will be about that or not, but like the black and white movies, a lot of real lost footage is like that, and lost movies are like that. From the silent film era and even the more recent talkies era, like most of the lost footage is black and white. So I think honestly this is such a cool book. I almost kind of wish that they did a horror release every single month, but you know, 4 times a year is good enough for me and my wallet, so I'm very pleased with my first offering. And honestly, I cannot wait to dive into this one. Honestly, I'm kind of feeling, I feel like I just talked about how a lot of books that are coming out this year kind of deal with like that film concept or horror movie concept. So yeah, I might be picking this up after my read, at least the current one that I am reading right now, which is Burn the Negative. I'm really flying through this one. It's very fast paced, and in between every single chapter there's like an epistolary, either journal entry, or we have like some scripts or just like interviews, just a bunch of different pieces like that at the end of each chapter. So it's very fast paced. I'm enjoying my time. I think I also talked about like the brief synopsis of this, and the tagline is some remakes aren't just a bad idea, they're deadly. It's a remake of a 90s haunted horror classic where a bunch of people from the movie ended up dying horrifically in real life, so a lot of people speculate there's a curse. The main child star of the movie, Polly, she and her family move to another country to escape America from this. She changes her name, puts her past behind her, and now Polly, now a journalist, Laura, goes back unbeknownst to her until she shows up at the set of the remake of this 90s horror movie, and the curse starts happening again. People start dropping dead, just like in the original movie. This reboot is following, so I'm having lots of fun with it. It's a little bit campy. I will mention this is Josh Winning is the author. He has written books before, but he's also written for Total Film for over a decade. So he's a film journalist, so you can definitely tell he's a movie buff, horror movie buff, I believe, as well. Just reading this and some of the references in here. There are even references to, like, there's a town called Craven, obviously after Wes Craven. So this feels like a little campy, a little screamish almost, in terms of it gets very self-aware and characters are like, this does not feel like real life, this feels like a movie. So if you kind of like that, where it can still get kind of scary, it definitely feels like if you know the Omen or the Poltergeist, like horror movies that kind of had like a lot of mishaps both on set and with the actors having tragic demises both on set or immediately after filming, kind of feels like that as well. So I think horror movie buffs are really gonna like this one, and I'm about like 70% of the way through it. I don't know math, but I'm on page 271 of about 350, so I do plan on finishing this today, and honestly, once I'm done, I might pick up Silver Nitrate because it's beautiful and I'm really enjoying the premise of this book. So I definitely might do that if it doesn't feel like too much of a good thing. So yeah, that's the update. Probably going to be the last update for today. Probably I don't see myself doing another update today, but Thursday I'll do an update tomorrow, having definitely finished this, and then with another reading update of whatever book I decide to pick up next. So I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Happy Thursday. I did finish Burn the Negative and I really enjoyed this. Like I was saying before, this definitely feels like a book for horror movie lovers, and just this was just, I don't want to say goofy because it was a horror book where horrific things happen. However, this does, like, you know, I feel like a lot of times with paranormal horror you do have to suspend your disbelief, and this does kind of feel like at some point in a slasher maybe you're thinking, what are they doing? Why don't they call the police? Like, why are they still in this situation? So you do have to suspend your disbelief, but in like a very fun way. Again, like movies like Scream, just like slashers that can get like a little bit meta. If you like those, I think you'll like this book, and it was very, very fun. Definitely felt like, and I mean this in the best possible way, it felt like a B horror movie, particularly like the end, and just like it felt like a horror movie ending. If that doesn't give too much away, it felt like a horror movie ending, and this one I just think a lot of horror movie fans will enjoy. It was very much a fast-paced read, popcorn read. I really enjoyed it. There were some spooky moments. Definitely not as character-driven as I might have expected for an almost 400-page book, but it's a thriller, so I can set that aside. It was a fun time and I enjoyed it. I'm also 60% of the way through a Graveyard of Lost Children, and I am enjoying this one. It's going slowly. Like, I'm this far in and I feel like you as the reader know revelations that the protagonist Olivia does not, which kind of makes it hard. I feel like you can only have that for like a certain bit of time before it becomes tedious as you're watching the main character try and figure out things that you've already figured out. But I'm really enjoying this one, so I'm intrigued. There have been some spooky moments, especially like juxtaposing this to Burn the Negative, because I had been reading them like pretty much, you know, the same time. This is a lot more character driven, a lot more slow, definitely more of like a mystery, paranormal mystery I want to say, but who knows, it could not be paranormal at all. We're not sure at this point. I mean, I feel like I'm sure, but you never know. So I think I'm gonna try and finish this today. Obi has a vet appointment today, just like his last of his puppy well checks. We'll see. I have been listening to this via audiobook. I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of reading done obviously at that appointment because our vet is like fantastic. We don't have to like wait a lot of time, and there's not like a lot of downtime, and I'm gonna be focused on Obi at the vet, so probably won't bring it there. I've also been listening to this via audiobook, so maybe later when I do my treadmill walk I will listen to this, but I should be able to finish this one today. Should have some more definitive thoughts on it as well, because we already talked about the synopsis for this one and I don't want to give too much away. It just feels like I'm at the point where I just need to finish it and figure out my thoughts and talk about them then, as opposed to potentially spoiling something or talking about my thoughts right now when it could change. I feel like just depending on the way that this ending goes could change my thoughts about this book a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna be continuing on reading this. Gotta take my dog to the vet. Hoping to see a movie tonight or tomorrow. I really want to see Talk to Me. It looks so good. I have a feeling it's gonna be like the best horror movie of the year. I've been hearing that from a lot of people whose opinions on horror that I trust, so I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to A24, which is a larger studio that can still be filming during the writers and actors strike, because they actually settled with a deal. They actually pay their actors a fair wage, so love to see that. Horror is awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna go get to reading, get to working, move on with my day, but I will talk to y'all later with another reading update. Happy Friday, ghouls and gals. I finished Graveyard of Lost Children last night, and I am not too sure how I feel about this one. The subject matter, like I mentioned before, is going to be very difficult for a lot of people, just based on what it is surrounding generational trauma, surrounding generational curses, whether that be in the form of curses or just mental health, mental illness, and then just postpartum depression. So for me, I've never had a child. I've never gone through what the characters in this book go through, and I only mention that because while I do like reading experiences that are outside of my own, obviously I'm a horror and fantasy reader, but just like, you know, from a variety of different human experiences as well. So I don't want to say that because I haven't gone through this, the book wasn't for me, because I don't think that's the case with books. I think you can have books that are for you that, like, you know, go through different experiences than your own. However, the ending, I'm not so sure about. It makes me feel slightly like it, I don't know how I feel about the ending, and just because I don't have anything to do with that at all, I don't know whether or not, like, I don't know how sensitively, not sensitively, but I don't know how well this is handled. I looked on Storygraph, where I track most of my reading, and the reviews from mothers seem to be pretty split. So I just think if you think this is gonna cut really close to the bone, if this is gonna be triggering, don't pick it up. It goes very graphically into postpartum depression and just like all of the raw and terrifying experiences that motherhood can bring that don't get talked about enough. You know, there was a passage in here that I thought was very impactful. That was one of my favorite passages of the book, talking about how Olivia never felt like she glowed, and how she just felt like she was losing herself, and everyone expected her to like feel like this was like the best thing that ever happened to her, and kind of ignore like the changes that were happening with her body, and just like the toll it takes to bring a child into the world and raise it and take care of literally all of its needs, and like the physical toll, the mental toll that takes on a person. So I thought it was well done. It wasn't my favorite book that I've personally read about with these themes. I don't think anything was necessarily handled like crassly or anything, just the story structure and the pacing of this one for me left just a little bit to be desired. I thought that if we would have, and I know, who am I feel like I've been experiencing this a lot lately, but if we had trimmed this down a little bit, I thought it would make for like a much stronger story, in my opinion. I feel like this is a book that could speak to a lot of people. I'm not one of those people, but that's not saying that I didn't enjoy it because of that reason, if that makes sense. I never felt like, first of all, I felt like there was a lot of repetition, which I think to some extent can drive home the points that the novel is trying to portray and Olivia's like mental experience. We do flip in between Olivia, who is third person, and then her mother, who is first person, and we flip between them, and just because of that, I kind of felt like I knew Shannon and her internal motivations, and just I felt like I knew her as a character better, so I felt like that was just a little bit uneven. And then like in the events leading up to the ending, I felt like the stakes were strange, because I felt like we really knew one character and we didn't really know the other character, but that could also be a commentary on how much motherhood takes away from you almost, because Olivia, I feel like, didn't get to be developed enough into her own character, and that's potentially very intentional by the author. How we don't really get to find out a lot about her other than her family history, the fact that she's a mother, like she's very much living in the moment, going through the action in the moment, and a lot of that is internal, but you know, I think maybe I'm talking myself up into giving this a higher rating. It is also worth pointing out that this is the first story that I've read about like pregnancy horror or like birth horror, like, you know, motherhood horror, that has a sapphic main couple. Olivia has a wife, Chris. However, I don't really feel like, I mean, that is very cool for representation. Again, this is the first book that I have read where there is a sapphic main couple. I don't think it necessarily added any additional commentary. I feel like Chris could have been a man or a woman, and that didn't really change any of the commentary or any of the story, which it doesn't have to. It absolutely doesn't have to. However, I almost wonder if having two women as a couple, I feel like you would maybe think that the partner who didn't give birth would maybe be more understanding about the medical gaslighting, or be more understanding about the pressures of projecting femininity or performing motherhood, performing being a woman. You would think that maybe there would be more of that in there. There wasn't, but it was really cool that this is the first story that I've read in like with this kind of plot that has a sapphic main couple in the middle of it. So yeah, it was okay. I definitely would read something else by this author for sure. I've heard great things about We Drown Our Daughters. This is very much like a middle of the road horror for me. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. So just like take my commentary with a grain of salt, because obviously I've never been a mother, so I've never given birth. So I think someone who has might have different opinions about this. Sorry for the chew toy in the background. My child, my fur child, has decided that just right now when I'm filming is when we need to pull out the squeaky toys, but it keeps him happy. So I am going to be picking up Silver Nitrate next. I have been staring at this book since I got it. I've been very much looking forward to it. So I think I'm gonna dive into this one today. Very shiny cover. I'm very excited about this one. So I do have the audiobook arc from Libro FM. Thank you so much, Libro. So I think I will be listening to this while I read it, and I'm very excited to dive into this absolutely beautiful book today. Those are my Friday plans. Oh, and I know I talked about the movie. We're going to see Talk to Me tonight. I'm so excited. I've been hearing wonderful things. So reading a horror book today, going to see a horror movie tonight. It's gonna be a good time. Alright, so it is time to wrap this vlog up. I did not vlog at all this weekend. I was helping out a friend, but I did get 3 chapters into Silver Nitrate, and I have a really good feeling about this one. It's kind of giving me, I don't want to compare it too much to anything because again, I'm on chapter 3 only, but I feel like if you liked the mysterious video producer sort of like weirdness of night film, with like film mysteries, haunted films, cursed films, this one seems like it's gonna be right up that alley. So I'm so excited next week to keep reading this because I just have a really good feeling about it, and I'm absolutely so pumped as well that I have this gorgeous edition. I did notice I didn't mention it in the last update, like where I unboxed this, because I didn't realize it until now, but the naked hardback is absolutely stunning. Do I know what any of this means? No. Am I gonna find out later in the story? Probably yes. But I'm very thrilled that I not only have this fancy schmancy copy, but that I think I'm really gonna enjoy this one as well. But that is going to be it for this weekly reading vlog. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel for all the bookish and cozy gaming content. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!